welcome back to another video. If you are new to our channel, I'm Jasmine, and usually Chris is right here, but he is not feeling well today. So it's just gonna be me. I am filming this solo, but we share all things vegan on our channel, lifestyle, recipes, everything in between really. So yeah, if you guys like our video, subscribe down below, give us a like, leave a comment, all of that. Today I'm going to be putting together a baked ziti recipe. Fun fact, my only actual experience with non-vegan baked ziti was from Sbarro's, if you guys know what that is. It's a vegan, basically like not a vegan, it's basically an Italian fast food place. And so I was like nervous going into this, making this recipe, but I did my research. Chris tried it and he's had the actual thing. His mom used to make it a bunch. So he approved of it. He said it was really good actually. So I'm excited to be sharing this with you guys today. All of the links will be down below for the recipe. And yeah, I think that is about it. Let's get started. So first up, we're starting with our cheese sauce. So to a high-speed blender, I'm adding in some cashews that I soaked overnight. And to that, I'm also adding in some unsweetened, unflavored almond milk. You can use any plant-based milk of choice, just make sure that it's unsweetened and unflavored, or else it'll taste pretty funky. Next up, we're adding some nutritional yeast, and we use this to add a cheesy flavor to the recipe. If you haven't tried nutritional yeast yet, I highly recommend it. It's one of our favorite ingredients, and we use it almost every day. Next up is some fresh lemon juice. If you don't have lemon, you can also just use vinegar. You just need an acid for the recipe. We have some salt, of course, because salt is life. Next up, some smoked paprika, along with some liquid smoke. These last two ingredients were optional, but they are highly recommended. And then lastly, we're just adding in some garlic powder. All right, so the secret ingredient is tapioca flour, tapioca starch. And actually, we have this recipe on our blog. It's vegan mozzarella. I don't know, I'm like whispering right now. But when you blend this into this cashew cheese sauce, and then you put it in the pan over some heat, it'll start to become nice and stretchy like mozzarella cheese. We're actually not going to be cooking it in a pan today because we're going to be baking the ziti, and it'll have heat already, so we don't need to do that extra step. But I just wanted to let you guys know what this is for, because it kind of seems like a random ingredient, but it is definitely necessary for this. So let's continue. So you're going to add your tapioca flour, also known as tapioca starch, to your blender. And all you have to do is just blend this together until everything is nice and smooth, and your cheese sauce is ready to go. So we're just going to set this aside, and we're going to continue with the remaining parts of the recipe. Before we start preparing our sauce, it's a good idea to cook your pasta. It should be done around the same time that the sauce is done. You just want to do this to save some time. So basically, we're just going to be adding the uncooked pasta to some salted water. We actually couldn't find any ziti noodles, but we're using penne here, and it's the best substitute. What is that? Oh my gosh. Do you ever just leave your phone on and then Instagram stories are just playing for like 3 hours? That's what's happening right now. Marinara sauce. I can't say it like Chris. Marinade. Did I say that right, Chris? He said, Chris not feeling well. Anyways, so we just got this at Safeway. It's just some organic marinara sauce and pasta sauce, but we want to spruce it up a little bit. So I'm going to be adding in additional fresh garlic, onion, and then we're going to add some vegan sausage as well, because it adds so much more flavor to the dish, and it's just freaking good. So the one that we have is this Gimme Lean vegan sausage from Light Life. We're actually only going to be using about half of the container, so I already like measured it out here. But yeah, so I just wanted to show you guys that before there's music and I start doing other things. But yeah, let's get back into the sauce. So I finally diced the onions and minced the garlic, and now I'm going to chiffonade, I don't know how to say it, the basil. So basically you just stack them on top of each other, remove the stems, and then roll it up really tightly. And then you're going to use a sharp knife to just slice through the basil and create these beautiful ribbons. Grab a medium to large pan and add in some water or olive oil. We wanted to keep this recipe oil-free, so we used water. And to that, we're just going to be adding in our minced garlic along with our diced onions. And we're going to cook this down until the onions are translucent and the garlic is fragrant. Just going to take a few minutes. Once those have cooked, we're going to add our vegan sausage. And this sausage in particular is pretty hard to break up, so I did the best I could. I'll show you what I did later on to combat this problem. But try to break it up into as small pieces as you can, just to cook it down just a little bit, remove some of the moisture from it. And then add in your marinara sauce. And what we like to do is, once we add all the sauce in, I go to the sink, add a little bit of water to the jar, and slosh it around and just try to get every bit of goodness from that jar into the pan. So my solution to the sausage was just to get a potato masher and just mash it up in the pan. It worked really well, and I highly recommend it if you guys come across this problem with your vegan sausage. And lastly, I'm just adding in the fresh basil along with some dried oregano. And we're going to allow this to simmer for about 10 minutes, just so that all the flavors marry together. And I want to note here that if you're going to cook something acidic like tomatoes in a cast iron skillet, just make sure that the skillet is well seasoned, or else the acidic quality of the tomatoes can break through the seal and it can cause your food to taste metallic. I forgot to mention this earlier, but you're going to undercook your pasta by about 2 minutes so that it doesn't get too soft in the oven. Just transfer it back into the pot, and to that I'm adding in about 1/4 of the sauce, and this is just to prevent it from drying out while we're assembling the ziti in our baking dish. And now we assemble. So you're going to grab your baking dish of choice, and the first thing is to line the bottom with a little bit of sauce. You don't need that much, but this is just to prevent the pasta from sticking to the bottom if it becomes too dry at the bottom. So add in your pasta layer. And in the beginning, I was a little frugal because I didn't know how many layers we're going to have. I did about 4 layers, so just keep that in mind. We're going to add some of the cheese sauce, and then on top of that, I'm actually adding on some vegan ricotta cheese. This isn't necessary, but it's definitely highly recommended because it adds to the dish. And the recipe for this will be linked down below. We have one on our blog, and it works really well in this. So just continue layering the pasta, the sauce, the mozzarella cheese sauce, and the vegan ricotta on top of each other until you run out. This isn't necessary, but I like to spread out the cheese to make it a little uniform on the top so that it looks its best once it comes out of the oven. So I just wanted to include that here in case you are making this dish to impress your friends and family. Pop it into the oven on the middle rack uncovered for about 25 to 30 minutes at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's it. Once it is done, you've got yourself a beautiful vegan baked ziti. I am so excited for you guys to try this. I'm craving this right now as I'm doing this voiceover. To spruce it up a bit, I garnished it with some fresh parsley. You can also use some basil as well. And then we had some vegan Parmesan cheese. And I just put this on top. Again, not necessary at all. It already has so much cheese, but it makes it pretty and it definitely adds a little bit more to the dish. Ooh, this is already cut into because we had to take photos. It's the reality of it, but let's continue. We recommend that you let this dish cool down a bit before cutting into it because it is easier to cut and the pieces stay together much better. Look at that. That is a big ass piece. The final product, I have 2 here, but hooray, it worked. I mean, I knew it was gonna work, I already tested this. But I hope you guys try this recipe out. I already ate 2 pieces to myself and I'm so full. But I'm gonna taste test it anyways for you guys on camera because, I don't know, it's a recipe video. Bomb. Oh my god, that's so good. I will have the recipe, I'm gonna pull this back so you can see it. I'll have the recipe linked down below for you guys to check out. And if you guys have any recipe requests, video requests, anything you want to share down below, leave a comment and let us know. We'll get back to you. Trying to be better about comments this year. I'm sorry that I haven't always been the best. It's just kind of chaotic. But this is really fun to put together. And this is honestly, I feel like I say this a lot, but this is my new favorite recipe from our blog. It is so freaking good. so decadent, and it tastes just like what I remember the Sbarro's Big Ziti to look like. So give this video a thumbs up, subscribe down below if you aren't already subscribed and you want to see more videos, recipes, and all that jazz from us. And Chris will be in the next video. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye.